In this video, we are addressing the topic in question as to whether you should wear a back brace or back belt. And this is a video for all you low back pain folks out there you're not going to want to miss. Let's begin. Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Coach Remy. In today's new video, we're going to be discussing the topic as to whether you should be wearing a back brace or a back belt. And often you'll see people with a history of low back pain or a low back injury. They may be wearing a back belt or back support with the intention of it may be taking stress off their low back or helping them work at their job or preventing a future injury. Now, with this video, I'm going to be addressing everything that you should know regarding back braces and back supports to help you make a more informed decision as to whether a back brace or back support is going to be something that is going to be helpful and useful for you. So let's begin by looking at the claims regarding back braces or back supports that you may see advertised on TV or online. You'll often see some of the benefits or intended benefits is that it will remind you to practice proper lifting technique or maintain proper posture. It will reduce range of motion at the low back, so you'll be bending and twisting less. It may reduce compressive loading, support shear loading. It may increase warmth to the low back, may reduce muscular fatigue, or may enhance or improve proprioception. Those are some claims that you may often see advertised. And I can say from my own personal experience from using a back brace and back support when I did go through my own low back injury, that there were a few of those benefits that I did notice. And I could say that when I did have a back brace on, it did remind me to maintain proper posture when I had it on and to practice, proper lifting technique. It also increased a little bit of warmth to the low back, I would say. And third, it did reduce range of motion. I wasn't able to bend or twist as much because the brace and belt itself reduced my low back from moving. So I would say there's a few benefits there that I can attest to just from my own personal experience, trying a back brace out for a short period of time. But as to whether a back brace is going to be appropriate for you or not, or if it's going to be something that's helpful, let's kind of dive into things a little bit deeper. And we have to look to the number one back expert, I would say, is Dr. Stuart McGill to this topic. And for more information about back supports and back braces, I would highly recommend, if you guys want more about the research, to go read his book, Low Back Disorders. There's a section all on back belts and back braces. But if you hear what Dr. McGill says, he does not recommend an uninjured or a healthy person to use a back support or a back brace, and there doesn't seem to be any intended benefit for that individual, and it could even perhaps put them at a greater risk of injury by wearing a back brace or back support. However, the individual that maybe has a history of back pain or back injury, wearing a back brace or back support can help them perhaps return to work, and there could be a context there where it is appropriate. So it really depends on the context in this case, is what Dr. McGill is referring to. So when we consider, what a back brace or back support does, I listed some of the claims already, and there are benefits that I can even attest to that it does kind of provide, it does remind you to practice proper lifting technique. It will reduce range of motion to the low back. But when we look at kind of things into a little bit more, a deeper sense, a back support, a back brace, some of the things it'll do is it'll increase intra-abdominal pressure, it'll increase blood pressure, and increase your heart rate, which may not necessarily be a good thing for every individual, because if someone has a history of cardiovascular issues, maybe a history of stroke, heart attack, wearing a back brace or back support, may increase the risk of future cardiovascular problems. So it's best to consult with a clinician or doctor to make sure that this back brace or back support would be appropriate for you before actually going to use one. The second thing is, if you're going to wear a back brace or back support, it should be accompanied by a proper education program about how to lift properly with regards to your job and the activity you're doing, and understanding how back injuries develop, as well as accompanied by a fitness program to make sure that, we're increasing core endurance, we're increasing strength to make, everyday tasks just a little bit easier, and then we don't become so reliant on the back support that eventually we can taper off from it. That would be the intention. Is that you would want to perhaps consult with a clinician or an ergonomic consultant, someone that can evaluate, your workplace, your work setup, and can help improve just the day-to-day little activities, whether it's bending, twisting, the chair you're using, the job that you're doing. Is there a way that they can come in and provide some more detailed description to make the job a little bit easier and more spine sparing for you, where it takes a little bit off the reliance on the back brace or the back support to help you out? Because eventually you don't want this to be kind of a long-term solution or a long-term goal. It's just basically a device that can provide some benefit to some people and not everyone. And the people that may use the back support is the people that perceive the back support as being helpful to them. That's where I would encourage them to continue, using or pursuing the road of using the back support. But it's not a long-term solution, because the problem occurred for a reason, and the back support is just there to help them get through their everyday activity or task while minimizing maybe spine loading or stress on the low back. So overall, the conclusion that I would say to leave you guys with is that back braces or back belts, they are appropriate for some people. And in some cases, if you're someone that does perceive the back support as being, helpful and it does help you, then that's a sign that you should continue with it perhaps. But if you're someone that, doesn't have a history of back injuries, you may not want to use a back support, because this could actually put you at a greater risk of an injury in perhaps some cases, and there doesn't seem to be any intended benefit. So really, a back brace or back belt is going to be beneficial to someone that has a history of a back injury or back pain and has a perceived benefit from using it, or has a benefit or notices a benefit from using it. And it should not be used as a long-term fix. It's just something more shorter term until this individual can manage their job better, and they can develop a little bit of core endurance and strength through an exercise program, and they're educated about proper lifting and bending strategies for themselves when they go to pick up or lift weights. So that's the overall kind of just conclusion that I want to leave you guys with. And like I said earlier in this video, if you want more information, I do recommend you guys go check out the book Low Back Disorders, as there's a whole section on back braces and back belts that Dr. McGill references and talks about his opinion. And then one just final point to wrap up with, when we're talking about an exercise standpoint, there is the situation where, if you're a power lifter, a back belt is going to be appropriate for you if you're lifting near max or max weight in those situations, because of the benefits from the intra-abdominal pressure increase. Would help with those individuals with hip lifting that heavy load off the floor. So there is just kind of exceptions in all different cases, and it really depends on the context. But there's one last point I wanted to kind of wrap up with. Now, if you have any questions about back braces, back supports, or anything like that, leave your questions in the comments below, and I'll be happy to help you guys out and perhaps guide you in the direction if a back brace is, perhaps going to be something for you that's going to be useful or helpful. And if you want any more information, tips regarding back pain, please jump over to the Facebook group, the Back Pain Warriors, and ask to join if you want more back pain tips or information about whatever it is you're trying to deal with, or just trying to overcome your back pain or looking for some support. I highly suggest you guys head over to the Facebook group, the Back Pain Warriors. And with that being said, guys, that's a wrap for this video. And until next time, have a successful and productive day. Take care.